Good evening, everyone. The meeting of the Zoning Board of Adjustments of the City of Elizabeth will now come to order. This meeting of the Zoning Board of Adjustments of the City of Elizabeth convened this Thursday, 14th day of November 2013, has been duly advertised in accordance with the provisions of the Open Public Meeting Act as a regular meeting. Notice of said meeting was published in the Star Ledger on January 18, 2013, and the notices of the cases to be heard were also published in the Star Ledger at least 10 days prior to today. Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
Commissioner Fernandez.
Here.
Commissioner Castro.
Here.
Commissioner Nunez.
Here.
Commissioner Silva. Commissioner Edie. Reverend Dixon. Commissioner Cano. Here. Commissioner Galvez.
Here.
Commissioner Gonzalez.
Here.
Vice Chairman Goncalves.
Here.
Chairman Haba.
Will everyone please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Commissioners, is there a motion to approve or deny the meeting minutes from our October 10th, 2013 regular meeting? Motion to approve. Second. Motion to approve by Commissioner Castro, second by Commissioner Nunes. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Fernandez.
Aye.
Commissioner Castro.
Aye.
Commissioner Nunez.
Aye.
Commissioner Cano. Commissioner Galvez.
Aye.
Commissioner Gonzalez. Vice Chairman Goncalves.
Aye. Next on the agenda, we'd like to approve the wording on the resolutions from our last meeting, October 10th. Resolution Z10-13, 279 2nd Street, McGill Real Estate Holdings, LLC.
So moved.
Motion approved by Commissioner Castro, second by Commissioner Nunes. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Cano. Commissioner Nunez.
Aye.
Commissioner Fernandez. Commissioner Galvez.
Aye.
Vice Chairman Goncalves.
Aye. Second resolution, Z-11-13, 854-930 Magnolia Avenue, 854-930 Magnolia Avenue, LLC.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Castro.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Nunes. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Cano. Commissioner Galvez.
Aye.
Commissioner Fernandez.
Aye.
Commissioner Nunez.
Aye.
Vice Chairman Goncalves.
Aye. Third resolution, Z-14-13, 487-529 Division Street, Wakefern Food Corporation.
So moved. Second.
So moved. First by Commissioner Castro, second Commissioner Nunes. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Cano. Commissioner Galvez.
Aye.
Commissioner Fernandez. Commissioner Nunez.
Aye.
Vice Chairman Goncalves.
Aye. First matter before the Board of Business this evening will be Z-17-13, 336 South Street, 336 South Street, LLC. Will the applicant please come forward?
Anthony, go ahead and please. You vote to solemnly swear the testimony you give this evening will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
I do.
Have a seat. Anthony, go ahead.
John Moreno, 2020, North Avenue East, New Jersey.
Would you state your name right into the microphone, spell your name and your address?
I, Ileana Martinez, I-E-A-N-A. Martinez.
Say your name again.
Ileana, I-L-E-A-N-A. 336 South Street.
May I proceed, Mr. Chairman?
Yes, you may, please.
Good evening. This application before you tonight is for modification of pre-existing non-conforming use at 336 South Street. Ms. Martinez has a restaurant at that location. The building itself is 3 stories in height. There are 2 apartments, a restaurant on the first floor, and 2 apartments on each of the upper floors. Ms. Martinez is before you this evening to seek your approval to expand the restaurant into the residential areas on the first floor, thereby eliminating 2 apartments, and also providing small patios in the rear of the structure for outdoor dining. Ms. Martinez, you are the owner of 336 South Street Realty LLC, is that correct?
Yes,
And the limited liability company is the owner of the premises, correct? And the site is at the corner of South Street and 4th Avenue,
yes,
and the lot has dimensions of 51 feet along South Street and 90 feet along 4th Avenue, correct? This is an existing 3-story building.
yes,
And at the present time, there's a restaurant and 2 apartments on the first floor.
yes,
And there are 2 2-bedroom apartments on each of the upper floors, correct?
yes,
Your application before this board this evening is to eliminate the 2 apartments on the first floor and expand your restaurant into the residential area that exists now.
yes,
Now, you're also proposing that part of the basement area will also be used for a restaurant facility?
yes,
This will be for storage?
yes,
With regard to the 2-bedroom apartments on the upper floors, you're making no modifications to those apartments, correct?
No.
Those are just going to remain as they are now?
yes.
You presently are the owner of a restaurant at that site, correct?
Yes.
What's the name of that restaurant?
La casa del pan con leche. La casa del pan con leche.
Tom,
Con leche.
these two you've been working with the family. Now, you've been operating that for the last 3 years? is that
Yes,
correct?
yes,
And it's fair to say that the business is a success?
yes,
And you recently had the opportunity to purchase a liquor license, is that correct?
yes,
And the KBC has approved the liquor license to be transferred to that site?
yes.
And you have not been using the liquor license yet?
Not yet.
What you're going to do is when you expand, you're going to have essentially a Cuban restaurant with food and with delivery.
Of course.
And do you know what your hours of operation will be?
Well, I'm right now 10 o'clock to 1 day.
The
Of course. And I'm going to serve the liquor, you know, like always 12 in the afternoon.
I'm sorry, I'm going to serve the liquor.
12 in the evening, you know, in the afternoon.
12
12
o'clock.
o'clock in the afternoon.
So your hours of operation would be rather similar to your hours now? is that what you're
Yes,
saying?
yes.
Do you know how many employees you're going to have, or you're going to have?
I really don't know, you know, it's a family restaurant and now it's all family.
I'm sorry, we don't know.
The restaurant is all the family restaurant. Always, you know, when I start with the liquor, I have to, you know, take the people to work.
So right now, it's essentially family members.
Only family.
running the business.
Only family.
And then as you, should the board approve the application, you can expand the restaurant and take on some additional employees.
Yes,
Here's a patio area in the back of the restaurant, and it's your intention to have some tables outside, is that correct?
only 4 or 6 tables, that's it.
Only 4.
4 or 6, that's it.
And you told me that you intend that just be for dinner service and alcohol, be provided incidental to dinner service, is that correct?
Yes.
And there's not going to be any music outside, no live entertainment, dancing, no noise be outside of the permits.
Of course, only the zoning permit.
Now, the architect and the engineer have designed an area that's going to be for trash and recyclables, correct?
Yes.
Now, at present time, we've got 3 or 4 parking spaces on site, correct?
Yes.
You're not proposing any new parking, correct?
No, because we don't need it. They have a lot of parking space, you know.
Have you ever had any parking problems?
No, no, I said I don't, no,
Not in connection with your business?
no.
Now, you also understand that should the board approve this application and approve the use of the rear yard areas, you'll have to go back to the ABC for their approval, and perhaps they might impose additional restrictions, you understand that?
Yes.
And if the board should approve this application, you intend to start construction right away?
Yes, also, they approve the ABC.
Thank you. I have no further questions.
Commissioners, any questions for Ms. Martinez?
I have a question,
Commissioner Paschal.
and it relates to the concern presented by our plans. The plans indicate that they require parking is 33 spaces, right?
Yes, we have a clear parking lot, clear space. But we have a park in the street, all the customers, I never.
I'm sorry, I can't understand this.
Speak slowly.
I have it right now, 4 parking at the back. But when the customer, my customer, never use it because all we have a lot of parking in the street. They have a one-way, street and the people parking there. Always they have a park.
I have a question, Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner Fernandez.
Mr. Guerra, you want to have the architect this?
No
All
question.
right, I'll save my questions for the architect. Please.
So the proposed parking spaces, the number of parking spaces proposed in this application is how many?
Well, we're showing 3 on the plans. They're using 4 spaces now, but they're not striped. When you stripe them, there would be 3 parking spaces off-street. And of course, there are several on-street spaces that we're using towards our parking requirement. But this site has never had parking. This has been there for some time. There is no way to create additional parking at that site.
No, I'm not asking for you to create additional parking spaces, but the letter from the planner indicates that the number of parking spaces, the required number of parking spaces may be overstated. But if I have any further questions, I'll ask Mr. Andres.
Okay, thank you.
I have a question.
Commissioner Nunes.
I have a question how it relates to serving liquor, and I think you touched on that. Is the current license going to allow the applicant to serve liquor on the exterior rear of the building?
No.
Is that something that she has to go back for?
This is a two-step process. They required us to come here first, get zoning board approval, and now we have to go back to the ABC, and with the zoning approval that we have, should the board approve the application, then they can impose further restrictions or indicate that they don't want any liquor service outside. I find it unlikely, considering that there will be any noise and there will be any music, but we still have to get approval from the ABC.
Okay, so I'll save the rest of my questions in relation to that for the argument.
Commissioners, any other questions?
So, in order, just to follow up on that question, the liquor has nothing to do with this application with us, or any from the ABC.
Only to the extent that we're actually using the rear yard for the restaurant purposes, which is an expansion of the pre-existing non-conforming use. So.
All right, so anything with the liquor will have to take care of the liquor in the
I'm
ABC.
sorry, gentlemen, one at a time.
You're approving the use, expanding into that area, but the actual licensing of that area is the jurisdiction.
Of the ABC. Thank you.
Ms. Martinez, you mentioned you're going to put outside, or your intent is to put 4 to 6 tables. Let us all know what does 4 to 6 tables mean, people, seats.
Because the people want to sit to eat outside in the summer.
have a total number that you're thinking of putting outside?
Let's say 25.
25.
Yeah, 5.
Time of operation, I was unclear. What is your time of operation for outside now?
We can operate, I can operate around the 10 or 11, whatever the time you give it to me.
Well, I'm sorry, I don't understand you. I can open it at 10 p.m.?
No.
It's not 10 or 11.
10 or 11 o'clock.
I didn't like to ask Ms. Martinez the question that was on my list, that we had already discussed the fact that she wouldn't be seating anybody after 10 o'clock.
Yes.
That they would be, still 11 o'clock, but it's our intention not to seat anyone after 10 o'clock.
So you will not serve after 10 o'clock? Obviously, we'll be wrapping up or finishing whatever was it.
It's never not going to seat anyone after 10 o'clock.
Mr. Colorado, is there an ordinance of what time an outside patio is allowed in?
I don't believe so. Restriction, time-wise, but I know.
Sorry, keep your voice up.
Yeah. Not that I know of, I don't know of any ordinance that would restrict the outside use. There may be a restriction on when they can serve alcohol outside, but I don't think ordinance has any restriction as far as hours of operation.
Even in the residential area?
Yeah, I don't believe so.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Ms. Martinez.
I call the next
Yes, please.
You just obviously the testimony you're giving will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but.
Mr. Presenter, 222 Jefferson Avenue.
Good evening.
Chairman, there's a licensed architect, engineer, planner.
Mr. Andrew, Mr. Zenna, for more various times, and we accept this witness.
Thank you. This is your site plan,
Yes.
start the site, please.
Yeah, the site's located at 338 South Street. It's about a block away from Route 109. It's at the intersection of 4th Avenue, Spring Street, and South Street. It's a corner site. It's got a restaurant on the ground floor, as mentioned previously, along with 2 apartments. Then the second and third floor each contain 2 apartments. There is a machine shop on 4th Avenue, immediately adjacent to the property, 1-story brick structure. And then on South Street, immediately adjacent to our property, is a 1-story brick garage, and then beyond that, residence starts. And I neglected to mention on 4th Street, 4th Avenue, beyond the machine shop, that's where the residential starts. And it's single and multi-family housing.
And can you describe the development?
Yes, again, it's a 3-story mixed-use building. We're not proposing any types of alterations to the exterior or additions. It's a brick structure. The first floor, as mentioned, has history as a restaurant, or apartments were put in at some point in time down there. The applicant's proposing the removal of those apartments and the expansion of the restaurant to encompass the entire ground floor, in addition to the seasonal seating in the rear. That patio does exist in its present sense, and there were 3 or 4 on-site parking spaces, depending on how you tabulate that, as well as on-street parking.
And can you describe the interior of the building?
Certainly, let me just turn to that page. Okay, the proposed addition involves the existing kitchen remaining, and towards the corner, which is 4th Avenue, we are going to add 2 proposed bathrooms, one of which is ADA. The expansion involves adding approximately 4 tables with 4 seats each, and a bar counter dining area for the dispensing of alcohol. The existing restaurant contains 4 tables with 4 seats each, and a bar as well.
Just from configuration,
not really large enough for that type of assembly use where you have higher density. It is loose seating, but the bar counters, the bathrooms, and the stairway kind of restrict how the space can be utilized. It's fairly intimate for tables and as an interior restaurant. I feel that there's very little risk of it turning into a nightclub or some type of high-density use.
And you're not proposing changes to the other floors?
No proposed changes to the upper floors.
And you've heard the testimony of the witness that she intends to use the rear portion of the premises for the patio area for outdoor seating.
Correct, yes, I have.
Now, can you describe some of the building structures that are adjacent to or abutting our structure? Would they act as a buffer for any type of outdoor activity in that site?
Well, I feel that if, as has been discussed already, if music, performances, and things like that are restricted as part of, as a condition of approval, and what we're talking about here is 4 or 5 tables of seating and dining, I feel it was adequate buffer from the surrounding residential. As I mentioned, there's a mechanic's shop, well, not only a mechanic, but a machine shop immediately south of this property on 4th Avenue. That provides approximately a 30 or so foot buffer in measured property, but that's my estimation. There's also a very high existing vinyl fence at the back of our property. And then as we move northeasterly on South Street, there is a residential one-story brick garage structure that's detached from the home, but it does provide a buffer in a sense. So there's only a very narrow spot at the rear where I feel that sound can really directly reach any of the residences.
Let's talk about parking. The applicant has testified that she's going to problem parking for her business at that site. You canvass the neighborhood. You identified that there is substantial on-street parking at that location.
Yeah, there's there are a few properties in this neighborhood that have on-site parking that are residential in nature, but the vast majority of them, just based upon the fact it's an old part of the city, it's basically all on-street parking. The city allows parking on both sides of most of these streets. There's one street, which I believe is Spring Street, which is one way. But they do allow parking on all streets. It is utilized. I feel like it's a self-limiting issue for the restaurant. If parking's not there, it'll self-regulate itself. But there's also very little in the way of other businesses in the neighborhood. There's a park near there, which Route 1 and 9. You have to go about a block and a half, 2 blocks to reach Elizabeth Avenue. It seems to me that there'd be some some portion of this, the patrons here would be walk-up traffic from the surrounding neighborhoods if the food's good. And there's opportunities to drive around these streets that all kind of meet at this intersection. You can find parking. There's not much competition other than within businesses and no other businesses there. Yes, of course, we're before the zoning board because this is a restaurant in an R2 zone. And then as far as bulk variances go, we have a lot depth variance. The prevailing requirement for lot depth is 112 feet, 6 inches. The existing property is 90 feet deep. Again, it's existing. Right and left side yard are variances. They're each required by prevailing to be 6 feet. The right yard is 0 feet, 0 inches. The left side yard is 2 feet 6. Now the right side yard is basically the building frontage on 4th Avenue. So it's not really imposing on any type of residential structure or any neighboring property. It's just a traditional, city corner property across the right way. And there's 2'6" buffer between that masonry garage that I mentioned on South Street. I did. Just let me finish. There's a impervious coverage limitation of 75%. We have 100 that is existing. We're not proposing any additional. Open space is supposed to be 400 square feet. Total is 100 per remaining unit. We are proposing 0, and I would propose that by the intent of the ordinance is 0, but by having a patio back there, perhaps the landlord can make some concession if people want to use those tables, particularly in off hours, and be occupied. The apartments do have access to that back area, so while I can't directly claim that to be open space because it's being used for commerce, I would propose that, it is there, it is open, it's not going to be built upon. And then finally, we get to the parking. I'm sorry.
So we discussed the parking. With regard to the hardware report.
Yes.
There was some discussion with regard to the area where the refuse container was located.
Yeah,
Would it probably be accommodated?
we can easily accommodate that by sending it further back from the street. I would propose having it abut the back of the building. Perhaps having it abut the rear of the building, perhaps inside the iron fence, less visible from the street.
And with regard to lighting,
We will provide shielded lighting. I just the applicant, but I'm happy to agree to low lighting levels here. Perhaps landscape accent type lighting, as well as the requirements for the entry to the rear of the restaurant. I have to provide something that use what's for life safety purpose. We're not proposing any type of large, high-mounted lighting that's going to impact the neighbors.
about the facade, we're changing the facade of the building in any way?
No, the facade's in great shape. It's actually a really nice building. It's brick, border is in decent shape. So we're looking to more or less leave that alone. The only changes would perhaps be just canopy or signage as depicted on the plan.
I should be working through this application for the variance requested, see the negative impacts outside voices in the neighborhood.
No, because I feel that with the use existing there is a familiarity with it. I feel that if there are problems, they probably would have been presented tonight, and maybe they still will, we'll see. But, based upon the testimony I provided and that the applicant provided, I feel that it's an expansion of the use that exists there. My personal opinion in terms of settlement patterns that apartments in the street, in a city environment belong on the upper levels, provides a certain level of privacy, and commerce type uses belong on the ground floor. I feel that this is an improvement over the existing living situation there. I think it's a good proposal.
Any further discussion, Mr. Chairman?
Commissioners, any questions for Mr. Zen?
Yeah, I have some questions.
Commissioner Castro.
Mr. Zen, I'd like to direct you to page 3, SP3.
Yes,
Are you there?
I am.
The masonry wall that is separating the proposed parking spaces from the outside patio, how tall, how high is that wall?
It's a very good question. I would say that it would be appropriate to limit it to the height of the surrounding fence so that it does not appear overly imposing. I have to speak with the applicant. I would propose a brick wall to more or less provide a unified material, palette of materials with the brick building. I would limit it to about 5 feet.
So what you're saying is that the proposed decorative masonry wall is going to be between
Yeah, I would propose 5 feet.
5 feet tall?
I think it's appropriate. It shields the people from the inside. It still maintains a sense of openness on that.
Sorry, it's shielding or?
I feel it shields the people who are using the patio from the parking from the street, but it still provides a sense of openness in the street corridor of Fourth Avenue. Not overly imposing.
Second question. How do people get from the restaurant to the patio?
On the architectural floor plan, there is a proposed rear door that links. So they would enter through the through the restaurant entrance on South Street and request that seating be directed into the back.
What page shows that proposed?
Let me flip to the back, I'll tell you. Okay, on sheet SK2, drawing to the proposed first floor plan, behind the proposed restroom, there is a door that is adjacent to the kitchen. That would be the door that would take to the back, to the rear patio.
Next question.
Yes.
The garbage container,
Yes.
don't you think that it is too close to the street line?
Yes. I offered previously that we would move the dumpster to the back of the building and pull it over towards the proposed stairs to the basement in that area, more or less. Pull it away from the street, probably behind that iron fence. Or perhaps remove the iron fence, I'll do the brick wall across, integrate it in a way where most people would not even be aware. I apologize. Perhaps I would, instead of the iron, in lieu of the iron fence, we'll just extend that brick masonry wall across the back and use that as part of the garbage enclosure. So it's very much invisible, particularly from the street, with a gated, with a gate so we can access that for garbage disposal.
And regarding with respect to side lighting, you probably mentioned something before.
I did. We will limit it to landscape lighting. There will be probably a building-mounted light mounted just above the door for egress and life safety purposes. We will keep it shielded, the lighting very low, and make sure that nothing is projected onto the properties.
Because my understanding is that the blueprints do not provide any side lighting.
I'm sorry.
The prints that you brought to the board do not indicate the side lighting, the specific side lighting.
Yeah, that was an oversight. We did not show that.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you.
I have a question.
Commissioner Arnaz.
In how it pertains to the applicant and the liquor license, again, I'm going to refer back to that. I understand that her ability to be able to serve, use the mic. I understand that her ability to be able to serve outside will be later determined, but if indeed she is able to serve liquor outside, and I think that this is the reason why this iron fence is here, is the iron fence on SP3 that's adjacent to this decorative masonry wall. Is that what's going to stop people from going from that patio area out into the street with liquor?
That's a good question. I'm proposing that that decorative iron fence just becomes, is replaced by extending the decorative masonry wall across and partially enclose the dumpster in that way. And we will have to provide some form of gating to get the garbage out to the street. But my understanding in discussions with the applicant was that it would not be an additional entry to that patio.
Just an emergency type exit?
Yeah, I mean, we would probably have to accommodate that in some way or form, obviously, but yeah, that's going to be probably an enforcement issue for them as they operate.
Thank you.
I have a question, Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner Fernandez.
The capacity of this outdoor area as far as seating, what is your estimates?
We show 4 tables with 4 seats, so the applicant, I believe, had mentioned between 3 and 6 seats of 4. We're showing a total of 16 seats right now.
16 seats.
Yeah, or 4 parties, depending on how it's utilized.
So it's a small area, but not
Yeah.
referring to large bodies or anything of the
If
sort.
you're familiar with the site, it's a decent sized patio, but it does limit itself to how many seats you can safely accommodate without feeling, I think, cramped and burdened.
You couldn't do more than 6 tables.
Probably not.
All right, thank you.
Commissioners, any other questions?
I have a question.
Commissioner McCollum.
What is going to be the use of the basement area?
The basement area is intended to be used for storage, food storage. There's mechanical equipment down there, and that's more or less the limitation of what the landlord's proposing for that space.
Commissioners, any other questions? Mrs. Zender, any other questions? Patio, is there any intent of canopy, any overhead protection?
Not that I'm aware of, but it exists as and is proposed to remain an open air patio.
You did mention that it is ADA compliant.
Yes.
Please describe to me where this person would come in and leave or exit, and how is the cycle of...
To accommodate that, I have to work this out with the applicant, but I'm proposing a lift at the rear patio. And if provisions need to be made for access, they'll have to open that rear gate, bring somebody in, and they have access to the patio, or they can use the lift. Some people prefer the ramps. I feel that with the size of this property, a ramp is an undue burden.
Okay, so tonight you're in front of the board with an ADA compliant project.
Yes.
Which you bring in front of our city planner, which both
Yes.
parties will approve.
Yes, I believe so. Yeah, the priorities of the state when it comes to upgrading an existing building, typically it's a percentage of the construction, and we would be triggered by this renovation to do that work. The priorities are the bathrooms, and then in addition to that, entries are always a priority.
Mr. Golaran, we're okay with that, right?
Yeah, that's fine.
I noticed you're showing canopies around the building. Any additional signs other than the one that's existing there?
No, I don't confirm that with the applicant, but my understanding is
Should I
that.
come in front of a appropriately signed variance?
No,
Any
no.
sign?
They have an existing sign up there, and again, we can confirm that with the applicant tonight, but my understanding is no.
Okay, and my last question is the lighting in the rear.
Yes.
You had mentioned to me some sort of low focusing downward. Is there a time limit or something like that? At one point, the lights will be turned off or on or?
We can do that. I mean, we can make that a condition. We can put a timer in the electrical diagram so that it's automatic at a certain set point. Every night it shuts itself off.
Okay, we'll leave that with the board, or we'll leave it with the city planner to decide if that's something that's necessary.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Zed.
Thank you.
I'm just wondering, Mr. Chairman, if the board has no further questions?
Commissioners, any additional questions before I call upon the audience? Is there anyone in the audience who wishes to testify regarding the application? If so, please step forward, one at a time. State your name and address for the record.
You get up, and who takes the seat?
Yes, Frank Cuesta, C-U-E-S-T-N, 832 Bailey Avenue, Elizabeth, New Jersey.
Welcome, Mr. Cuesta, from work.
Thank you. Good evening, Mr. Chairman and distinguished members of the board. First of all, I appreciate the opportunity to testify before the board. And before I make my brief comments, having served on numerous boards, you know, particularly the planning board and the ABC, I have to commend you because I was very impressed with how thorough this board has been in asking very relevant, very important questions about the application, and I think that's a great thing, and I commend you for that. I'm here to testify on behalf of this applicant because I believe that it's a good project for the applicant, but also for the city. The city of Elizabeth is a very diverse city. with many needs. Obviously, we have many places where one can go and eat and have a good time. I have had the opportunity to visit this premises many times, and I have always left satisfied. By the way, parking for me and for my friends who often visit this place has never been an issue. There's always parking on the streets. The service is fantastic. And I think the fact that we have here a family-run business, and in today's economy, the issues and the difficulties that people are facing financially, I really commend the applicant. I congratulate them and I thank them for investing in the city of Elizabeth. The ABC board, as you know, has already approved the liquor license for the first floor, and if tonight's application is approved, then we're looking forward to also reviewing their request for the patio area. But again, I'm here to congratulate the applicant, and I'm here to ask the commissioners to consider supporting this application, because I think it's a very good one.
Thank you, Mr. Cuesta. Commissioners, any questions? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Are there any other members in the audience who wish to testify regarding this application? If so, please step forward, one at a time. State your name and address for the record. Not seeing any additional. And before we go into our closed session, I'd like to ask Mr. Gallerano if there's any additional comments you might want to add to our application.
No, I have no additional comments.
Thank you. Commissioners, your comments, please.
I think this is a great application. Beautifying and improving that building is important. The applicant is making a substantial investment, not only to expand her business, but also to improve the shape and the looks of the building. As the applicant testified, she's not going to allow any music or access to any noisy entertainment that neighbors should be concerned of. So I'm in favor of this application.
Commissioner Nunes.
I'm going to echo comments made by Mr. Cuesta in saying that it's wonderful to have a business like this in the city of Elizabeth that not only exists but thrives. And the fact that the applicant is investing additional monies into this business shows how she believes in the city, which bodes well for all of our residents. I too look favorably upon the application.
Commissioner Bethos.
Yes, I want to refer to this application.
Commissioner Fernandez.
Mr. Chairman, I actually drive in front of this business 5 days out of the week in a regular basis. It's always clean, never had any comments against it. It's a small business run by a hard-working family. It could be it is great to have it in the neighborhood. I'm very much in favor of it.
Thank you. Commissioner Canal.
I'm in favor of the application too.
Commissioner Canal. I'm in favor of this application.
I am so.
Thank you. I tend to echo also the commissioner's comments. I'm familiar with the business. I do pass by there also every day. The applicant has not diverted from any ordinance or any deviation, it's basically a family ambiance and atmosphere. I think it's a good application, and I think we should pursue it. Commissioners, motion please.
Motion to approve this application.
Commissioner Castro.
Second.
Commissioner Canal. Roll call please.
Commissioner Fernandez.
Aye.
Commissioner Castro.
Aye.
Commissioner Nunes.
Aye.
Commissioner Eady.
Aye.
Commissioner Connell. Aye. Commissioner Galvez.
Aye.
Vice Chairman Gonzalez.
Aye, and congratulations.
Thank you.